Okay, this is the 55 Chevy truck project. This is kind of an important one to get done. We're trying to get it done really before Christmas, and there's a lot of work to do, and we're just really trying to get moving on it. As you can see, we've already sandblasted the cab and put some epoxy primer on it so it wouldn't rust, and we've ordered a bunch of parts, and we did find some issues. You know, there's some rust down here in these corners of the cab. You're gonna have to cut these pockets off, replace those. Both steps, rocker panels were bad, as well as the inner cab corners. So I've removed both steps and both cab corners, and I've replaced both cab corners so far. And there you can see I've done, you know, it's really important when you do these things to take measurements so you can back yourself up and get it in the right spot when you're done. Come around here, now this is the inner cab corner. There'll be another panel. The whole back of the cab is missing right now, and we're converting it from a small window to a large window. Big project. Here you can see these are actually what's left of the cab corners that were in this thing, and whoever worked on it, you know, they just butchered it. You don't do that. They stuffed fiberglass in a hole, filled it with Bondo on the outside. That's just not the right way to do these things. So all that got cut out. Slide over here. This is, of course, the driver's side. That's the inner cab corner, all welded in. And there's the new step. Of course, you see a lot of dust and debris on top of it, but the step, I still have to weld it up here in the top, but otherwise it's in and solid. We're going to replace this pocket as well. Just not going to take any chances. It does have some rust. We'll just fix it, make it right. The big part of this project is converting it to a big back window. Now this kit is available through Eckler's, and this is the inner panel that is going to go up here. I've already removed most of the old one. Sorry about the light, but the it welds to this structure on both sides, which is the jamb for the doors, and then also up here it welds, there it is, to the inner roof panel. So I've got all that metal bared down, and then what I did notice is you got these latch assemblies, which is just a plate with some screw holes in it, some threaded nuts, and that's where the latch would mount. Apparently I don't have any real instructions, but apparently you need to remove this plate because it's on the back side. There's a replacement plate here on this new piece. So to make this fit, I'm going to take that piece off as well. As I progress, you know, I'll put in this inner structure for the back glass, and then there's some filler pieces. I'll show those that go in as well. And then we'll just take a walk back here. There's the back of the cab. So all that will be new and in perfect condition and look great. So that's where I'm at right now. Besides that, we also have the chassis we're redoing, and we've ordered Heights parts for this thing. It's going to have a 4-link rear suspension and a Mustang 2 style front suspension, rack and pinion steering. I did it steering column. We'll show more of this as we progress into it, but there's all the goodies from Heights that's going to go into the frame. So stay tuned. It's going to be a cool project when it's done. So there's a quick mock-up of the inner structure when converting it over to the big back window in this 55 Chevy truck. Those pieces that I kind of showed earlier that were laying on the floor, they go in here. And you kind of got to piece them all in together. It's not fully bolted in yet, but I think that's just more of a strength part, and so I'm going to weld those in as well and get this inner structure mounted. Again, it's going to mate up here against the ceiling roof panel, and then weld on the sides. You can kind of see over there, but where these welds are here, weld those back in, and then I'll weld it again right here where the plates were for the door strikers. And then once that's all in place, then we'll work on getting the main panel on the back of the truck. So I think it looks pretty cool, and really enjoying this project. Okay, here's a continuation on that 55 Chevy truck. I talked earlier about this inner structural panel, and I've got it in place. I did have to test fit it a few times, and I wanted to show that I had to move the holes. These are the factory holes here. I had to move them back, make new holes. Of course, I'll fill those in, just to get it to have a place to weld to. Otherwise, it's just fitting up really good. I did have these those other panels I talked about. I'm getting ready to weld those in. So I drilled some holes here on the back, and I'm going to weld it up here on the top. Put in 3 holes up here, and then that'll take care of both these sides. And you can see this other side, it's set in place and ready to go too. Now I did have to put these in as I put this panel in, but I didn't have them attached. And what I did to make that happen, I lined everything up here, and you got these holes where the striker plate mounts. Well, I made sure those were centered, and then I used the screws, the old screws and plates to hold the panel tight against the back as I put this piece in. And then I could weld with my plug welds here, so that it would hold that panel in place. You can kind of see them there. So now these panels can be welded in, and that'll take care of that. As you can see, I've drilled or punched a bunch of holes around the perimeter where the 2 windows are going to meet, or the 2 panels are going to meet together. And then I'm prepping the back of the cab now. I've drilled a series of holes around the perimeter. Also, there's some holes here. That's where these plates, structure plates are here in the floor. So I got to put those, reattach those. And the only other thing I've left to do is bare the metal on my contact points where I'm going to weld it. And then on the edge, I'm going to have to drill holes where all these marks are. Then it's kind of a tight fit to get around. You have to kind of stretch the panel around the cab, and once it's in place, then you have to clamp it really tight because it wants to spring away in a few spots, mainly in like these corners right here where it meets the new cab or the old cab. But I've got all the other areas prepped. I bared my contact points, and once I get that wrapped around and clamped in place, I'm going to finish welding it in and be done with the back of the cab. Then I can move on to that other step and a few patches I got to put in this truck. So stay tuned. Well, we've been making some good progress on this 55 truck. Earlier I showed you that inner structure panel that I had put on, and this is the back of the cab. Everything's installed and welded in place. Some of the areas you can see I had prepped out and welded in at the bottom. I added some tacks on the inside where the 2 pieces met so it wouldn't vibrate. Went around all the edge of the window opening. All those are welded in. Sides all welded in. Still have to do this step, but that'll come. Everything turned out pretty nice. Made sure everything was clamped tight and put it in place. Welded you can see that's where some of the welds were from the center brace, and that's a cab mount too. So all that's in place. And next step I wanted to show, we got the front suspension on, a Mustang 2 type from Heights. We're going to paint the upper and lower control arms along with the frame, but we went with the chrome coilovers and the polished Willwood or Wildwood calipers, and of course we have a sway bar that's down there. The other thing is we got the engine mocked up. So there's the LS1 or LS engine. It's out of a truck, but still the same kind of thing. Today we took these mounts. They weren't quite right. We had to actually extend them a little bit. so we could have clearance taken care of down here at the oil pan. That's why right now we have it set up with a block of wood, but we had to extend those about 1 inch, and it looks pretty good. Otherwise, cross members in the back for the transmission. And the only other issues I'm going to run into at this point, I think, are the transmission poking up through the floor. Now originally this would have had this type of pan right here, and it would have fit flat, but you can see the transmission sticks up. So I'm going to do some custom work, probably cut the middle out of this and create a hump that's going to go over the top of the transmission, and also something with the firewall. The other things that are happening with it, we've got a bunch of holes here. Some are factory, some are not. We're going to fill most of those, and that's what I was doing today, was filling up all these excess holes that we don't need. And there were some that somebody had cut in for different things, but I filled all those in. And here's a shot of the 4-link. That's all mounted up. Everything's welded in, and again, chrome coilovers. We're going to paint the bars. There's the panhard bar, and this is a Mustang rear end 8.8 limited slip, and we're having the axles set up to take Chevy lug pattern, and of course it's got disc brakes on the back as well. But we're making good progress on it, and a few other things we're going to do. We have to fill in this gas tank opening because the tank's going to be under the bed in the back. A few other sheet metal repairs, and we're going to start getting closer to mocking it up and make sure everything lines up good with the doors and the fenders. But making good progress.